Welcome back, everyone. Drop frames, whatever episode this was, 17 something. What's up?
I'm watching the Marvel trailer.
I need like 30 more seconds to mine this asteroid.
Okay. I can't watch. I can't watch the trailer yet. I gotta wait till afterwards, after the show.
Okay.
But anyways,
Okay, we're good.
let's start with Game of the Year stuff.
Okay.
I guess the best way to introduce this is the three of us have not actually, we've had some loose conversations about it, but we actually haven't had a real conversation about how we're going to plan to do dropped frames Game of the Year stuff. In the past, we've done top 10 list and then done a Game of the Year show. This time around, I think we're going to, we talked about maybe introducing categories and having basically everything that you're gonna we're trying to be as transparent as possible with the whole thing. And so Co brought up doing categories, and I'm curious, when you say categories, do you want that to be for each of us or an agreed upon thing by the three of us?
No, I think it's an agreed upon thing by the three of us.
Yes, agreed upon thing by the three of us of whatever categories we decide would be good. So we could do best music and sound. We could do best RPG, best action, best story, best characters, and then I'm sure there's a bunch of others I'm just not thinking of.
Yeah,
but
I mean, how many of those do we actually want to
for
like?
games like Nier, we could have a best ending.
I'm thinking it's like broader categories, like best music, yes, for sure.
Best multiplayer, someone just said this in the chat.
Best graphics would be another one.
I think we
something to highlight the games that might not have made it into the Game of the Year category, but had one thing that was just out fucking standing.
Oh, I think we should definitely do a top 3 from all of us. Best early access and best either non-AAA or top 3 indie.
So the producer in me is screaming internally right now because are we gonna do like a 5-hour show? Like, this is a lot of stuff. Our top 10 shows were 4 hours, if you remember. They were quite long.
Well, one of the things we can do, what we do for our normal top 10s is go over each individual entry. So what we could do for categories is we could just have a list released for each of us. So we could do like best music and sound effects. And then we do JP's top 3 and you talk about why that made it. Co's top 3. We talk about why that made it. Zeke's top 3 and or something like that. Or we could do everyone's top, then everyone's second, and then everyone's third.
Yeah.
But
I think if we do that, we got to be pretty careful with how many categories. Like the categories have to be pretty overreaching, and they have to be like,
I'm thinking like 5 to 8 max.
Yeah, I was thinking 6 to 7.
Then top 10.
So I'm right there with you.
Yeah. No, what I think we do is we do. I think the structure should be. We all do best music, and then we do our number 10s, our number 8s, and then we do best graphics, and then we do our number 7s, our number 6s, and then we do best narrative, and then we do so on and so forth, and just intersperse those in between going up the list of 10.
Potentially. That's
The
kind
actual
of
top 10.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I love that idea. That's a great idea. Yeah, I like that.
It might be a little bit confusing for just the graphics and show flow. I think it would be better to do our best and then do the top 10 last. But the thing is you're going to probably get repeats there. So I don't know. Because then we have to think of like, you know, we spend 5 minutes on X game being the best music. And then it's also in the top 10 list. So then we don't talk about it that much. Like do we want to pin stuff at the same time we announce them in our own list? Like it's a weird thing for sure.
That's true. But I think what we can do on our own individual sides is just make sure when we're talking about the games for the individual categories that we're only focusing on that category's feedback.
That's true.
So if we're talking about Horizon Zero Dawn having one of the best stories, then we'd only talk about the story and not about why it's in our top 10 or why it's in, you know, like we just focus on the individual categories and kind of make it quick, concise. And then if we really want to talk about the game, we save that for the top 10 part.
It's not a bad idea. Do we want to do top 5s instead of top 10s? Since top 10s can be quite lengthy and top 5 would actually be much harder to discern a top 5 list and maybe add more value.
I gotta be honest. there were a lot of amazing games this year, including indie games. I'd love to do a top 10, even if the bottom, even if the 5 to 10, we just put on the screen for a few minutes. Like maybe we don't have to talk about the top, like the 5 through 10.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to still have that be like, I want a public top 10. There were so many.
Well, and that's the thing is, we've been doing this long enough. If we go into it knowing that we can't talk as much as we'd like about the lower of the 10, I think we'll be fine.
Okay.
But I think we definitely need 10.
Okay, I'm down with top 10. That's fine. And then for the categories, best graphics, best multiplayer, best music, worst game, I think would be interesting. Or not necessarily worst game, disappointment of the year. I think
most disappointment, yes.
Yeah.
Game that did not meet expectations. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Most disappointing game of the year.
By the way, while JP is kind of talking through here,
Yeah.
we kind of want to make it a point. This Game of the Year show is for you guys. So for the people in chat wondering why we're doing this on stream and not offline, we're doing this specifically because we're watching your feedback while we do this.
Yes.
Like this show is as much for you as it is for us.
Yep.
So that's one of the reasons we chose to do this on drop frames instead of doing this in like a Skype call after the show or something.
Yep. So best
just wanna let you
story,
guys know.
best multiplayer, best music, best graphics, most disappointing game of the year. That's 5. Do we want to do like game of the year, or is that just way too difficult to agree upon between the three of us? I think that's probably way like we have so
Agreed on Game of the Year?
Yeah, I don't think we could do that. There's no way. Okay, good.
I think that's what the thing about this show is that we never all three have the same Game of the Year.
Yeah, we wouldn't. We wouldn't at all.
So what were your
Because mine's
categories,
Helix,
JP?
just saying.
Best story, best multiplayer, best music, best graphics, most disappointing game of the year, and then our top 10 list.
Yeah, and don't worry, guys. We'll word it so it's not just graphics. Well, it'll say like graphics / art or art design or something like that. You know, to encompass shit.
Most visually stimulate. Well,
Best
yeah,
graphics
all
/ art direction. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, we'll figure out the language later.
Best art direction. I like that. That's a great way because that means we can factor in games like Cuphead and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Best
graphics / art direction, kind of all encompassing.
I don't like best early access, but I do like best indie. I don't know if you want to put that in there.
I think we should have best
If
early
it's
access because we can get games that aren't done on the list.
But the reason why I don't think it's absolutely necessary to have best indie is because that'll be on
mean
our
best
top
early
10, I'm
access?
sure. What's that?
Or indie? Were you
Indie
arguing
game.
for early access or indie?
I was arguing for indie, but I kind of retracted it because the best indie game for all three of us, I'm sure, will be on the top 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it would as well. I think if we put best indie up there, I know I personally cannot really add that much to like indie game. Like I didn't play that much indie games this year. At least I don't think. Maybe I'm mistakenly putting games in like the AAA category that are indies. But
Hey, you got another month. It's cool.
yeah, that's the other thing is some of these
give you a
games-
list.
yeah, like me and Zeke both didn't play Nier, so story is going to be kind of an interesting one because I don't know. Nier might not end up there because you know you have dungeon or not dungeon. I'm blanking.
Well, it's
Divinity,
interesting because
and you've got
Nier
other
for
stuff.
me was the ending. The story was okay, but the ending was what kind of set it apart.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And then
you know,
do we want to come to the show with an agreed upon answer, or do we want to come to the show and have deliberations of best story, best multiplayer, best music, and find something to agree on?
I think we should all have our own lists, and then we should talk about it.
So okay, come to the show with a list, but not necessarily
My top
The-
3, Zeke's top 3, JP's top 3, and then we go over our top 3s and we talk about why we made them our top 3s.
okay. So we're not doing an agreed upon dropped frames best story of the year. It's everyone has top 3s within that subcategory.
No,
I would think it's
no.
best-
That's too many. That's too many. I think it's just one apiece.
Oh, so the entire like our 3 casts agreed upon for each category.
One per person is what Zeke's saying.
Yeah, one
Yeah.
per category. So I say best OST in my opinion is blah. What's yours?
Okay.
I think that works. Yeah.
So it's
that's-
like straight up awards. So we
Yeah.
have 5 awards for the 5 categories, and then our top 10s with 10 each.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
I think that works.
Sounds good.
I think that's good. Then I just got to figure out. Yeah, I don't know. That show might be long. We might have to block out a
We
little
have to do
bit.
a 4 hour for that one.
Yeah. I'll have to go
It's
back.
okay. We'll get beers. We'll have some fun.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look at the other VODs to see how long. Let me just do that now while we're talking about it. Game of the year. Is that even what we called it?
Oh, now, hey, JP.
Yeah, what's up?
Someone brought up a really interesting point in chat that we could do. If you wanted to put a poll of some kind up on your website, we could have a viewer's choice award for the top 3.
My mods were already going to do all this stuff and have people able to vote on it. So yeah, that'll be made. They just were waiting on the different categories for me, and then they're going to handle all that stuff. So there will be ways for viewers to vote and all that. And then we'll probably have like, and the viewers chose blah blah blah. Yeah, last year's show was 4 hours. So I think if we do a 4-hour show and break it into 2-hour chunks, that'd probably be good. So we'll go from there.
And we're doing it at your house again, right? Because I already packed my Snuggie.
I mean, potentially if you guys want
that,
to.
man. I love it.
I'm kidding.
But
kidding.
no, of course you're kidding. But I honestly almost entertain the idea of it's like, maybe we come to Naga, hang out with Co's house.
Just
Pet his
saying.
chickens.
If y'all wanted to come over, we can figure it out. But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. We'll figure out the actual date for the
I
show.
got guest rooms. I'm just saying. I even have a couple horses you can ride.
I'll stay in a hotel. I mean, I'm not gonna stay at your place.
Off channel.
Yeah. And then, I mean, it's either going to be the 6th, the 13th, or the 20th, and it'll probably be the 20th. Because I'm busy the 13th. The 6th is way too soon, so I guess it's probably going to have to be the 20th.
We talking December or January?
December. I don't want to do another January show. I hated that last year. I absolutely hated being the last person to deliver a game. Games were coming out. People had already stopped talking about Game of the Year. It's like, guys, we're going to do our Game of the Show here next week. No one cares.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Irrelevant.
Yeah. Yeah, I hated that. So the 20th, we'll just lock that in.
Sounds great.
20th at 1 p.m. Eastern. Cool. All right. Sorry, I'm just making a note. Well, cool. Let's do some questions then to do the next hour of the show, and then we'll call it an episode.
Oh! Before we get off of this topic,
Yep.
we are saying absolutely no to PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Is that correct?
I don't know if.
Wait,
Okay.
maybe
Top 10. Top 10.
because it might actually get released before December or before the new year. There's arguably a patch where they made the version 1.0. So now there is discussion if the game is actually under release. However, under most circumstances, you are correct, Zeke. No early access in the top 10. And,
Gotcha.
and JP, are we in agreement on that?
Yeah, I'm
If
trying
you
to
go
think.
to the Steam page and it says early access on it, it is invalidated in any award or top 10.
I'm trying to think if there's any games I would want to even be on the top 10 list that are early access to see if there's an argument that I want to have. I don't think there is.
I have to admit, it's kind of hilarious with the PUBG thing because we made it like the poster child of EA or of early access stuff. And now it's all of a sudden like, wait, no, we're going to be released before the end of the year. And it's like, well, shit.
Well, I think that's their goal, right? I would
Screw
think
everything up, guys.
I would think as developers they want to get it out of early access so that conversation
Of course,
doesn't happen, right? Because like
Yeah.
next year, I don't think it'd be part of the Game of the Year contender. I don't know. It's a fucking weird thing.
And also,
Now,
why?
chat
I
is
mean,
saying-
okay, this is a question that I would love to have answered. Is you can keep making changes to a Steam game forever if you want to. Why not take it out of early access? What is the point of keeping it in early access?
That's the argument. The argument for keeping it in early access is that you later have a cash cow of releasing your game in like a big push. So there's theoretically to investors, there is a yet to be big explosion of cash coming into the project. That's why most developers keep it in early access.
Yeah.
However, you're absolutely right because anyone can patch your game whenever and they can add content whenever. So you would
I'm just
think
wondering
they-
if
yeah.
I'm just wondering if people who want to play who want to play PUBG have not bought it yet and are waiting for it to release. They're like, it's not done yet, so I'm not going to buy it. 20 million copies later. Do you think there's anybody that hasn't bought it yet that is waiting for it to release to buy it?
No. I highly doubt. I mean, there's always a rule
then
to
again,
or an exception to the rule, but
it's alpha beta syndrome, dude. The term early access these days, every single day that goes by, the term early access means just a little bit less.
yeah.
And it's getting to the point where it's just like, you just buy a game when it gets to the point that you want to play it. Like, end of story. Like, that's just the point we're getting to. Alpha, beta, early access, every single day, those mean less because of the companies that propagate what those terms actually mean, because they're the ones that kind of decide it. So what are you going to do? And by the way, for those talking in chat saying about RimWorld, no, I will not be putting RimWorld on any of my Game of the Years. I'd love to, but if I go to the RimWorld page, it says at the top in big letters, early access game.
Yeah, maybe.
So I'll wait until Tynan wants to release it.
I can't think of any other games that are early access that would end up on a top 10 besides PUBG and like RimWorld.
There's some indies, but not many. There's a couple indies I can think of. I could have put on my top 10.
I think,
EA.
yeah, I think that there were big games that were early access, but I don't think they're going to be anywhere near my personal top. Like Friday the 13th, I guess would be considered a big early access game, even though I don't think it's on anyone's.
Great indie side scroller called Dead Cells.
Oh yeah, Dead Cells. Yeah.
Early access.
Yeah.
So we'll have to wait until next year.
Yeah. What about Fortnite?
Stuff like that.
What about Fortnite?
Well, I waited.
Fortnite's not on any early access. It's out.
You got to be careful with Fortnite. That's a free to play. So that's a game that you kind of assume will be updated all the time and with a cash shop. But I mean, it's technically a release this year. So end of story. Fortnite is out. It is a release, and we could put it in our top 10.
I feel like that's such a wrench to the whole like early access games can't be on a top 10 year list or top 10 list just because it doesn't have the word early access in front of it. But that game is 100% a game in progress with Fortnite.
I'll agree with you, but Fortnite is a lot more complete than many games. I mean, it's got not only a fully developed like base defense orcs must die component, but now with the BR, like it is a relatively established product.
Before we keep arguing this,
Right.
is it going to be? It's not even close to be. I haven't played it.
No,
so
it's
gonna
not.
be on my top 10.
It won't be on my top. It won't be on
so
anyone's top 10.
yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I'm just saying it
Cool.
kind of throws a wrench in that whole
It's gonna set
argument.
guidelines.
Yeah.
And here's the thing.
Sure.
I know for a fact a lot of people in my community, and I'm sure Zeke and JP's make their own top 10 lists in anticipation of our top 10 show. So it's it's good to set guidelines and what we're going to be putting on our lists and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
good to talk about.
Good point. Good point.
Yep. Yeah, that whole thing is kind of like ruined the idea of what a game is these days. Like, when is a game out?
The line between actual physical game and idea of where the game you want to go is blurred.
It's so blurred. Yeah.
A lot of times when you buy a game, you're not even buying the game. You're buying the potential that the product might have. And it's just at that point how much you trust the dev.
Yep, I agree. It is a very weird world when it comes to that stuff. Where did I put the questions? Okay. Zeke, I don't know what you did to the top of the questions, but can you apply that to all the questions right now? in the question
I haven't
list?
refreshed. I haven't refreshed in a minute.
Okay, yeah. There's a lot of them. So.
It's format, text wrap, check wrap.
Here. Okay, I'll just do that myself. I got you. You can just do
I
the
got
whole
it.
thing.
It's that's right. I forgot to refresh again.
I think I just did it. We're good. Yep, I got it taken care of. Cool. All right, so thanks everyone for submitting questions. We had quite a lot last week, and we've gotten quite a lot more now that we've delayed this week. We're around 200 questions. There's no way we're going to answer every single one, but we've kind of gone through and bolded. At least me and Zeke have. Feel free to go through and just bold some that you guys want to answer for sure today.
I've highlighted. Can you see my highlights or not?
I can, yeah, in the
Okay.
brownish thing. I guess tan.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, we'll start with this one from VKYX. He says, if the cast could revive one dead franchise, Each for one last game. Which games would you choose to have one more day in the sun? I know right off the bat an answer to this.
A franchise, reviving a franchise.
Yeah, and you get one last game in that franchise.
JP, since you immediately had an option, what is yours? I'm interested.
Chrono Trigger. I want a new Chrono X game.
Ooh,
Because like
good
Chrono
one.
Cross was the last
That's
one,
a
right?
great one.
Like where the fuck is that
that's a
franchise,
great-
man? Give me the end of the franchise.
So you played Chrono Cross?
Yes, and I've played it. I never beat it. I watched my brother beat it, so I guess
I'm in
I
that
technically
boat.
played it.
I'm in the same boat. Okay.
Yeah, it's tough to go back to Chrono Cross 2 because it's a PS1 game and it just looks so fucking awful. Like it was the early polygonal days, and those games don't look very great. So it's a tough. It's not like Chrono Trigger where the art is evergreen, right? Like you can go back and play Chrono Trigger right now and it looks fucking amazing because that art's just evergreen. So yeah, I would want a new Chrono.
What about you, Zeke?
game.
I just same BioShock. Another Ken Levine BioShock, if we could.
That's true.
I love
Another
it. I mean, that's
Andy-
my favorite. My favorite game series of all time is BioShock. So
That'd be pretty good.
That sounds like an answer I'd say. That's I'm totally with you. I have to admit I have two, and one of them is super obscure and one of them not so much.
Okay.
These days, I would love, and this is coming, keep in mind, from a non-Star Wars fan. I would love another Coder.
Yeah,
I
that
would
was the
love
second one that
a
came out.
well-made, deep Star Wars RPG that lets me decide what I want to do in the Star Wars universe, lets me live in that world. There hasn't been a Star Wars game like that in a decade, and I would love it. And then second, and this is going to catch a lot of people off guard. In fact, I bet the majority of people in this channel have not even heard of this game. I would love to see a reinvention and a reinvigoration of a game called Myth: The Fallen Lords, which was one of the first games by a little startup company that only made Mac games called Bungie Entertainment.
Yeah. It'll never happen.
And
but
they
yeah.
made this game called Myth back in the day. And it was one of the coolest war strategy games ever. You had a set amount of points and you had to make your army out of the points. It was almost like Warhammer. And then you had to fight other people on these really cool maps. And there was full body dislocation. And you could like use all sorts of different. It was so much fun. And there was nothing else like it. And I would love for there to be another Myth one day. I still, to this day, 20 years later, I don't even think another game like it exists. Except, actually, now that I mention, I think they tried to reinvent it. But
I think they did.
I'd love
like
to see a Myth 3.
There was like a Myth, maybe it was a re-release or something like that.
Yeah, there was like I think there was like an indie game that tried to remake it, but I don't think it was quite the same.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was really, really cool.
Yep. A lot of these questions do have to do with streaming. A lot of them don't, so we'll just kind of intersplice them throughout the next 45 minutes or so. I'm just gonna keep pulling questions. If you guys see one that you really want to answer, feel free to jump in.
yeah, you can pull from my highlights if you want.
Okay. Yeah. This next one is a streamer related question from Lithogica981. I don't know what color. I'll just put in that. He says, do you think it might be detrimental to streamers who, when a new release comes out, play through the game too quickly and leave themselves with nothing to play until the next big release? I think that's pretty much streaming in a nutshell. It happens to a lot of people, without a doubt.
What that guy just said is 1,000% accurate. And it's interesting because there is a graph of how large your stream is and when you should stream a game.
Yep.
And basically here's how it works. The smaller your stream is, the smaller average viewers you have, the longer you should wait to stream AAA titles. There is a sweet spot that if you do enough research, you will find. And when you hit that sweet spot, you will become the top stream of that new game. It may be 3 days later. It may be a week later. It might be a month later if the game is big enough. But whoever asked that question absolutely nailed it. There is a sweet spot to stream a game, and depending on your average numbers, the lower the average, the further back from the release date it's going to be.
Yep.
And that's just smart. That's just smart thinking. That's what I did actually when I started streaming games specifically to gain followers back at the beginning. And I was like, that was my goal. finding that ratio is part of being a successful streamer.
Yeah. I think that there's also something to be said that it's one of the reasons why people that necessarily play slow or people that 100% stuff, because I would think probably the biggest streamer that like 100% stuff is a toss up between like Dan and Co. Because like Lyric, he just plays the game in terms of like variety stuff. They don't really go for the fringe so much. And so I think like for the most part, 100%ing stuff is, if you enjoy a game that much and you can play the game that much, it's really smart to do on big releases. But maybe not necessarily true after it's been out a month. Like people might not want to see that stuff. It's kind of,
that's true. The fall off of the game is also a factor.
Yeah.
Some games completely lose their steam after the story portion is done in 30 hours, and you may still have another 100 hours of the game left, but people don't want to watch that sometimes.
Yeah.
It's just the way of the game.
Yep.
So that's how it was, for instance, for me with Mass Effect Andromeda. People were very interested until that main story concluded.
Yeah.
And then it was just kind of like 40 hours of, oh, he's scanning more mining stuff. Cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, deciding what games 100% are also a big deal as well.
Yep.
And also like figuring out your sweet spot, meaning for me, hype games don't bring an audience. I play them from time to time if I'm really, really interested, but I know that I'm going to take a hit in viewers and all the other numbers.
Yep.
So I've learned
And at the same
where
time,
my channel lies, where the strengths lie, and my strengths lie in different shit, weird, old, indie, whatever.
and what's even crazier is I have seen Zeke with numbers on indie games that are twice as high as many other people get for the exact same game. And it's because Zeke's audience wants new games, obscure games. They're there for mostly Zeke and not the game selection. So the more he capitalizes on that, the bigger his streams get.
Thank you. Let me just get in there and run that real quick. There you go.
Thanks, buddy. Gets better every time.
Yeah, I agree with everything Co was saying there. Lash Dude is one of Zeke's questions that he chose. Lash Dude, what does everyone think of sponsored streams becoming more and more popular? It's an interesting thing. I think that it's a weird thing, at least for me, because there's definitely ones where you see like an entire group of like 30 sponsored streams, right? And it kind of like, not desaturates, but it makes the
It's the opposite.
Well, yeah, it makes the stream like not as big of a deal in a sense. Like it's like, oh, of course, that's just a sponsored stream for this game because a billion other streamers are doing that right now. But I don't know, like as a viewer, I think the answer most streamers will say like, oh yeah, sponsored streams, sure, it's just a part of the business. You do them or you don't, blah blah blah. But I'm curious, like chat, what you guys think of sponsored streams, because I feel like there are sponsored streams that do it right, and then there's sponsored streams that just look like a giant cash grab, and a lot of that depends on like the game. I feel like not necessarily like how the actual part of the sponsored stream is presented, but it's just if it's a mobile game, you're just like, oh well, this like not interested this whatsoever. The money must have been gigantic, blah blah blah. I think that's how most people see it.
Personally, I love I don't love like doing them is not what I'm saying. I love sponsored the fact that there are sponsored streams.
Yeah.
Because it means it lends legitimacy, and also it's giving money to people I like. Like people I like are making money, which I want. I want people like my friends to do sponsored streams and make lots of money doing what they like to do. And I'll sit through a 2-hour or 4-hour sponsored stream if it means that a friend of mine is making money off of it. That's fine with me.
Yeah. I think that there's definitely something to be said, like, as long as it doesn't seem like the streamer is only playing that game, and that is a very fine line. As long as the streamer doesn't feel like the only reason they're playing this is because they were paid to, and it's not like they weren't going to play it in the first place, that's where it gets
And
a
that's
little bit
another
dicey.
thing that I
Okay.
wanted to mention. I think all of us on this broadcast, all three of us, have the luxury of turning down streams. I have turned down, and I'm not like bragging or tooting my own horn or whatever, but I've turned down quite a bit of sponsored streaming content because it's a mobile game. I don't give a fuck. It's an MMO. Don't give a fuck. It's a arena battle thing. Don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I've turned down a lot. I've turned down more than I've accepted by like double or triple.
And Zeke, you just brought up a very good point. And honestly, I feel there's a line. And what you just said brought up the vision of that line.
Yeah.
And what that line is, I have an issue. I don't like watching streamers that take paid promotions of games they don't like playing. And I feel that is a line that is being crossed more frequently lately, which is unfortunate. Or more that I see, like when I see streamers play a game that they're sponsored to play, that they would never play normally. That's just kind of like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. Let me be very clear about this. It's a completely different thing when you're trying to pay bills as opposed to deciding if you want a $70,000 or $90,000 car that you're paying all down for. Like those are two very different things. So I want to make it clear, if you're working to survive essentially, and this is your job, that's one thing. But it's another thing where you just, anytime someone offers money, you say, okay. And it doesn't matter what the game is. And then you see these people over and over and over play games 1 or 2 times, and then they never play it again. And it's just kind of like, it makes me think the viewers who really trust these streamers are going to see them accepting money for the games, and they're going to go, okay, I don't make a lot of money, but this guy accepted money from them, so I'm going to put some of my small amount of money towards that game too. And then that streamer never plays the game again.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, okay, that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing I don't really like about sponsor streams. And I fall in Zeke's category as well, where I love seeing people like make money. That's awesome. You're succeeding. You're doing great. That's fantastic. But I can tell you, I'm in the same boat as Zeke. And again, not to humble brag or anything like that, but I turn down 9 of 10 of the offers that come my way. And I'm sure most streamers are like that. That's not just me.
Yep.
Not a thing. That is a most streamers thing, where it's just like, this doesn't work for my channel, or I don't use that product, or I don't plan on using that product. And it's kind of weird these days to see sometimes there's streamers where it's just like, oh, you want to give me money? Cool. You want to give me money? Cool. You want to give me money? Cool. Here's my bank account. Just throw as much as you can. And it's kind of like, there's a very serious difference there that I hope doesn't get to the point where it's going to cause a schism. That's my biggest concern. I hope it's not going to get to the point where there's like, I don't know. It's really interesting because we're in this kind of evolving entertainment realm where there's no right answers. So nobody knows how to do it properly. And that's very important to mention. But it's been really interesting seeing how different people approach it, and you know, which way is right, and are there wrong ways? Maybe there are no wrong ways to do this. Because I mean, do we get mad at an actor for accepting a commercial? Like when you see an actor in a commercial, you never go, oh, that guy's doing a commercial for that company. You're just like, oh, that's an actor doing their job. Yeah. So is that where we are as
a professional athlete like drinking Pepsi when you know they never drink Pepsi and stuff like that? I think you have to ask yourself one question. When you get a sponsor, like when you get an offer for a sponsor, you have to ask yourself one question. Does this make me feel greasy?
Yeah.
And if it does, then I just say no. If it doesn't, if I feel like I can do it without feeling super greasy, I'll do it.
It's true. I think we all kind of are on the same page with that.
I also want to point out very much, like, it's a completely different thing if you're using that money to pay your rent or pay your bills. Like, that's when you're a working streamer, as I like to call it. When you're somebody who is not necessarily, you know, making a huge amount of money, but you're paying your bills with what you're doing. That's a different situation. Like, that's a completely different situation.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think that's a topic that can be that should have a lot more conversation than what we just
Dude,
gave
we could
it.
do a whole show on that topic.
Yep.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yep.
We could do a 3-hour show on that.
Yep.
All right. This is a question that we don't have to answer right away, but we can just think about it. And it's just a one-person answer. If you could have lunch with any person, living or dead, who would it be and why? Think about it. We'll do another question while we're thinking.
Okay. I don't really have an answer. I got to think about it.
Throughout all of, let's see, this one is from, that one was from Rebellion OP. This one is from Bear Walrus. Throughout all of everyone's streaming career, what has been the most dramatic change to your job? Whether that be Twitch, gaming, or technology in general.
Wait, repeat that? Oh, never mind. I found it. Throughout all of
I'll
your
say
streaming
right
career.
now, hands down, having a kid. Dude, it's like a wrecking ball through routine.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I am a creature of habit. I'm the kind of guy that gets up and does the same thing every morning. And then I do my little perfect 8-hour stream. And then I have my little routine and then I go to bed. And oh my God, having a kid has been a wrecking ball through my life. In a good way, don't get me wrong. But, oh, woo. Damn.
Most dramatic change in my job, the opportunity to travel and host for Twitch. That has been the most dramatic change. Like when I got the opportunity to do that and then I started doing it regularly, that completely shifted like, oh shit, there's lots of facets, and it opened my mind and to other opportunities. There's lots of facets to this whole thing, and it can open doors if you let it. Like the hosting thing, I really would love to get into doing voiceover stuff, and I'm kind of dabbling in that and so on and so forth. So that really like opened a lot of doors for me, for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
JP.
I don't know what the most dramatic change. Trying to think like what that would. I don't know if I have it's been pretty like even keel for 5 or 6 years.
That sweet, sexy routine. Can I have some of that, please?
Yeah, like if anything, it's been like self-imposed changes. Like the past 2 months or I guess like past 5 or 6 weeks, like waking up at different times and like imposing a schedule has been, I guess, dramatic, but it's not like a giant fucking change. That's just waking up at a different time every single day.
I would have lunch with Tom Waits.
That's your answer. Okay.
Yeah, I would have lunch with Tom Waits. I'm trying to think of like throughout history. It's like, no, I don't really care about history all that much. I want to talk Tom Waits.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool to have lunch with.
I guess maybe the Patreon for roleplay is probably the biggest dramatic change. Not necessarily.
Patreon. Good answer.
Not because of anything money related, but the idea of that, like, not the idea, the stress that something is expected from the money coming into your, into my life in that sense. Like when people sub, they don't expect anything of a streamer. They just expect them to continue streaming. When people pledge on Patreon, they expect something of that. And the stress of that is definitely dramatic.
JP, on that other end, I'm sure it was pretty incredible, especially in the first few days, to see the amount of support behind roleplay.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I don't know about you, but those first few days of the Patreon, I was just like, holy
it was,
shit.
yeah, that was kind of a surprise. Yeah, we didn't expect that type of money at all. But the money wasn't like necessarily a dramatic change. It just means that those funds were coming from somewhere else now, and the rest of the money could be applied to other stuff. But the stress imposed on what I do on a daily basis or a monthly basis, et cetera, with roleplay was definitely dramatic and not something I expected whatsoever. So I guess that's probably my answer to that. I still don't know who I'd have lunch with though, so we'll continue, or have dinner with, whatever the question was. So, do you have an answer for that yet, Co?
I would say one of two people. I would say either Ken Levine, because I would love to absolutely pick his brain on game design, and another person is a gentleman named Warren Spector, who is one of the original designers of Deus Ex, and he's actually currently working on the third System Shock. So that is another person that I'd I'd really just love to sit down and kind of talk about how he works, because he has made some absolutely incredible things. So I think between those two, we'd be good.
I don't have an answer yet. We'll continue
Okay.
on. Feel free to ask me throughout
most-
the next couple of minutes. Go ahead, Zeke.
Most annoying thing. This is from. I'm paraphrasing. Dan Newt J says annoying things you have to deal with as a streamer, but I would just addendum to most annoying thing you have to deal with as a streamer.
I feel like we've kind of answered this. It really just depends on like this answer can change depending on what's happening in your life at that particular moment as a stream.
Yeah.
For me right now, it's finding a game to play on a consistent basis. Like having a main game, I think is hard to do on Twitch unless it's a PUBG or a Fortnite or something like that.
Chat
Yeah.
for me. Yeah.
I go in and out
I'm
of
kidding. I'm sure. I love chat. I love chat.
yeah. I definitely go in and out of like today's a love chat day. Oh, today's a hate chat. And it just depends on like what I'm playing or the mood I'm in. So
I think the most annoying thing for me, like the first thing that came to mind, I probably have to think about it a long time before I actually came up with the most. But the first thing that came to my head as the most annoying thing is turning it on every day, like turning it, like not the stream, but myself.
yeah.
There is like, because I don't walk around my house screaming and yelling and narrating everything I do. There's a switch you have to turn on if you want to start streaming. At least for me, it's annoying that I have to do it every day. That I some days I don't feel like it, and you have to like fucking power through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still think it's finding a main game. The question was, what's the most annoying? It was, what's the most annoying thing as a streamer? And we were both saying like it kind of just changes depending on, because we've answered stuff like this before, but it just changes on what's happening in the world of streaming for us at that point in time. So feel free to take a stab at it.
I honestly, I'm kind of in that boat. The most annoying aspect of streaming changes like the seasons.
Yeah.
If some months I have a really hard time finding games. Some months I have a completely inexplicable giant sub loss, and I don't know how to deal with it properly.
Yeah.
Some months there's just a bunch of shit going on Twitch maybe that creates, I'm starting to question what my long-term plans are and stuff. Like it's interesting because going back to what I said earlier, there's no other jobs like being a Twitch streamer. It is one of the most curveball shooting jobs I have ever been in. And I'm somebody who, I have a kid. I have to think what's going to happen in 18 years when he's going to college. So with that in mind, and considering I left a basically 10-year IT job to come into this position, the biggest part of Twitch is just being okay with the fact that you never know what's going to happen. That's the biggest issue I have with Twitch, is knowing that you're, no matter how much planning you do, or no matter what and how much time you put into it, there's going to be a massive factor that is just completely unknown to you.
Yeah.
And that can at times cause stress.
Yeah. DeBeer asks, as a cook, I've always wondered if you guys like to cook, and what's your favorite comfort food? Sorry about it not being related to video games. I like questions that aren't related to video games because we don't get to talk about it too much. Do you guys have a favorite comfort food? A food that is like your go-to. It's been the worst fucking day of work, right? Of streaming, which is like probably still a good day. But what's like the food that you want at the end of the day?
I've been on a Chipotle kick lately. Just saying.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah, dude, them salty chips and a good chicken burrito, and I'm good.
Yeah. Mine's very specific, and I don't eat them anymore because they're so bad for you. But apple strudel bites, without a doubt, are like the most comfort food. And I think it's because I ate so many as a kid. It like takes me back to that mindset. So that's my comfort food.
Arguably Blue Moon. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
I do get a lot of comfort out of my beer. That's true, chat. Thank you. Thank you.
Comfort food is kind of a weird question for me because if It depends on if I feel like making something or not. If I don't, Taco Bell. I love Taco Bell. I'll eat just shitloads of it and hate myself, but I'll
Never
love
been
it
a
while I'm
big
doing
fan
it.
of Taco Bell.
But if I feel like making something that I love to eat and I eat probably once a week, if not more, is a ribeye, like a ribeye steak.
Yeah.
Like I know exactly how to cook it the way I like it. It comes out same every time, and I'm like I turn on because I broil it, and I turn on the broiler, and I'm just like once I hit that broil button, I'm just like, oh god, this is gonna be so fucking good.
That makes sense. I get that.
Making me hungry, Zeke.
I get that. Yeah. Zeke, you got another question, or Co? Do you have another one that you guys have pulled out? I'll scan through.
I guess what game had the biggest emotional impact on you?
What was that game?
Whoa.
It was it's an indie game. It's like RPG Maker style look to it. To the Moon, was that the name of it?
That
There
sounds
is a
right.
game
Yeah,
called
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably the game that's had like the most emotional impact that I can think of.
Yeah.
Like true
Brothers
emotion.
for me.
Brothers was pretty good.
I have 3 little brothers. It fucking crushed me. It was such a good game. I mean, in that manner, in that fashion, the emotional impact just.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Brothers might.
In terms of impact,
Yeah.
I have to say that Hellblade was extremely impactful for me. And that's because
answer.
I wore the headphones with the 7.1 surround and really kind of tried to immerse myself in the fact that, this is like what this character experiences without this kind of stuff. And dude, that game was impactful. This War of Mine, also the DLC,
Yeah.
I gotta say, like this War of Mine in general is very impactful. The DLC is like another layer of impact.
Yeah.
That was something else. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people are saying Last of Us. I think at that exact point in time,
That's my number 2.
Yeah, like when I reached the
Yeah.
ending at that exact point in time, it was definitely an emotional experience. I don't know if it was the most though.
Are we talking like forever, by the way, or just this year?
I think forever.
Forever.
Yeah, of all time.
Oh,
Yeah, Brothers came out like 3 years ago, I think.
Yeah, and To the Moon's very old as well.
God. I'd have to think about that. There's been a lot of incredibly. I mean, hell, you could even go into like the end, the end of the BioShock Infinite was extremely eye-opening to me. Like the idea of the multiple dimensions and how they played into
There's
it. And
always
everything.
a
That
lighthouse.
was,
Yeah.
dude. That's super. Witcher 3 had an incredible ending if you did it right. Evil Within 2 was phenomenal. Even
Who would you go to lunch
Horizon.
with, JP?
What? You guys talk at the same
Who would
time.
you go to lunch with?
I still don't have an answer to that. I don't know.
Who would you go to lunch with? Come on. Who's an idol? Who do you revere? Who do you look up to?
Not
Who
very
is
many
just
people.
amazing to you?
Okay. Real quick, before we go too much past this question, I have to mention Final Fantasy 15 in terms of impact. I don't know about you guys, but the end of Final Fantasy 15 for me, like, killed me. Like that was it hit me so hard, it invalidated future DLC. And that is one of the only times that has happened in a game where the end of the game was so heavy for me that I did not want to revisit the game because of where I knew the game was going.
That's true.
I have not had that happen outside of Final Fantasy 15.
Someone put this in chat, and I have to say it because it might actually compete with Brothers for my most emotional. The Beginner's Guide. Holy fuck. What a fucking
what?
trip of emotions. The Beginner's Guide. It was by the same guy who did the same guy who did Stanley Parable. And it is a fucking emotional roller coaster.
Is that the one
Holy fuck.
about-
That hit me like a ton of bricks in the face. I was not expecting it. And it just goes, when you're like, oh, whoa, what the fuck? Like, there's a part that you don't see coming. And I still, like, explaining it, just kind of like, it doesn't sound right. But there's a point in the game where, and I'm not spoiling anything, you're cleaning. And it's so, like, I get misty, I get chills even thinking about it. Choked up,
I never played it.
crazy. Yeah.
Never played it.
Okay, just real quick. Do you realize the order of words that just came out of your mouth? There's a part in the game where you are cleaning I got choked up beyond amazing. It was incredible.
Yeah.
Man,
Can we add a few more details between that part?
I think it's too
there?
spoilery. I think it's too
Man, I don't want to do
Is
it.
that okay?
I want you to
zero
all to
sense?
experience it.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's a narrative experience that is unparalleled, I would say. And I'm not saying unparalleled like excellent. I'm saying it's not been done before.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I've heard of that game before you just said it.
Yeah.
So I am gonna download it right now. Apparently, it's already in my Steam library, so I'm gonna download it right now.
There you go.
Yeah, and you can. I think you can play it in an afternoon. I don't think it takes that long.
It says it literally takes an hour and a half.
There you go. Yep.
Not bad.
Worth it.
Cool. I'll have to check that out sometime. Thanks.
Yep.
Here's a slice of life question. EverQuest Junkie asks, what is your favorite restaurant? Do you guys have a favorite restaurant? Ko said Chipotle, but I mean, I think he means like a sit down. Well, it can mean whatever you want it to mean. Do you have a favorite restaurant?
I love me a Red Robin burger.
Good choice. I'd have to say just not because of the food, but because it's where me and my mom go. And I don't know if it's a chain or used to be a chain, but it's called Village Inn Pizza.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my favorite restaurant because that's where me and mom go to have pizza. And it's greasy, like super bad for you pizza, but it's really good. And it's been around for like 50 years or something.
Nice. Mine is the Playground in Santa Ana, California. I don't get out there much, but without a doubt.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that, dude.
Without a doubt, my favorite restaurant.
I'm gonna go regional. Hillsboro Barbecue in North Carolina.
Yeah.
I have to say, nothing really beats a barbecue place that sits in between the East and Western styles of barbecue. So they offer both styles of both vinegar and tomato-based barbecue sauce. You really can't go wrong.
Fancy.
You really can't go wrong.
Fancy.
I mean,
You took me
it's
there.
amazing.
It is fucking delicious.
I did take you there. You have been
And
there.
I had a
and
mix.
It is delicious.
I had a mix between the vinegar and the other, and I think I like the other one, like the
Tomato-based?
like I'm a traitor since I was in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The vinegar-based barbecue is, I mean, it's vinegar. If you don't like the taste of vinegar so much, you won't really like the...
Got a bite to it.
Yeah.
You got to enjoy the bite. It attacks you.
Yep.
Oops, sorry.
Time flies when we start. I can't believe we only have 15 minutes left.
You bolded some of these. Fucking just pick one of those bolded ones.
Bolded means that we've asked them. Oh, I see what you're... No. Sorry. Bolded in red means that we've asked them. Some of these are kind of just like goof. Like, what kind of functionalities would you like to have it at the Twitch? I just like how that guy spelled functionalities. FONCTIONNALITIES. Functionalities.
That sounds like someone saying it with sass. Functionality.
It sounds like English is probably not as...
Walk, your functionality, talk.
It just sounds like English is not his first language. I just thought that was funny. But I feel like we talk about that a lot. Right now, I'd fucking none. I don't want any. Stop breaking for a day or two, so we don't have to reset the doomsday clock. Yeah. Just stop breaking.
Talk about another topic that could be a show.
We didn't actually talk about this, and I'm curious to hear how you guys like it. Sub gifting. I know we're all a fan, but like, how have you guys incorporated it to the streams? Because I if I see a name that has been a sub before, just I see a lot, I'll just gift them a sub like every single day almost, and that's been really cool. But I haven't like done any systems with it yet, or incorporated it in any other way to the stream. So I'm curious if you guys have.
Hold on, you gift subs to your own channel?
Yeah, to people that are in the channel all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the funny thing is, I feel like with the fucking stupid way that I have to do that, Twitch didn't think that streamers would do that.
Thank you, JP.
Because it's
In
fucking
fact,
awful.
I have to admit, it is so obtuse and
It's really
just
bad.
heavy. How many steps we have to go through to gift a sub.
Yes.
Like, we have to connect a payment method. We have to wait for that method to be authenticated. We have to then accept that method. We then have to click on another window to go through. Like, dude, I can't tell you how much I want to be able to click on a name, like right now in chat, beep, boop, herp, derp. And I want a button. And I want to click that button one time, boom, and then they get a gifted sub.
Well,
It takes like 5 minutes for us to give subs.
For me, the worst part of it is is like any other Twitch streamer, you have twitch.tv/streamer name/dashboard. Everyone has that open at all times whenever they're streaming, right? You can't gift subs from the dashboard. At least I can. I don't know if this is special. And the way you have to do it is you can't go to twitch.tv/streamer name/chat. You have to go to twitch.tv/streamer name. Then you have to wait for that person to talk again in chat because we don't have sub buttons on our own chats. There's not a button to click, drop down, gift a sub. At least I don't. So I have to wait for the person to talk in chat. I don't have that button. I don't know why.
If you go to your own channel, you can click on the sub button. If you go to twitch.tv/itmeJP, and then it should say gift a sub under it.
I don't have a sub button on
don't
my
get me
own
wrong.
channel.
Then you have to put in the name and search the user on Twitch. Select the user.
There's no sub button on my channel, Co.
Approve the payment method. Wait for that to approve. Like there's a whole bunch of other steps too. Oh wow, you don't have.
I don't have a sub button on my own channel.
Now see, hold on. If I go to my channel, I see a sub button.
Man, okay, then I'm just getting fucked because my routine is I go to twitch.tv/itmeJP, wait for the person to talk, then I can click gift a sub and I have to go through that whole process. So it's like, it's awful. Just
for me, I click the sub button, gift a sub, and then I search for the user, and then it lets me click the user out of a list, and then I go through the sub gift thing.
Yeah. I don't have that because that's what everyone's like. Just click the sub button. I don't have a sub button in my own channel. I don't know why.
You know why, dude? How long have you been a partnered streamer?
A very long time. 2012, I think.
That's probably why. I actually was a month after the cutoff.
You think it was
where they
before
didn't
that?
automatically sub you to your own channels?
That's right.
So I had to sub myself for my first month, and I bet you because you're earlier than that, you don't have that option.
You might be right. Maybe so. Zeke, do you have a sub button on your channel?
I do.
No, I'm hosting you right now, so it says subscribe to itmeJP, and I can gift a sub to you.
Yeah.
To your channel.
I guess the only way to see if you don't would be to
even
unhost.
that, Zeke. Like if I go to twitch.tv/CohhCarnage right now, in the top right of the screen, I have a subscribe to Co button, and in the bottom of the screen, under the hosted page, I have a subscribe to itmeJP button. So I have two sub buttons on my screen.
Nope, I just have the get bits because it's right next to the get bits, right?
Yeah.
You're older too, though, aren't you, Zeke?
Ish.
I don't
See,
think
I'm new.
I think me and you got our sub buttons around the same time. I think you got yours a month before I did.
April 2013, actually. April 2013, I think.
Huh. Well, the whole thing's screwy.
Yeah, I got mine in August, so it's like way older than yours.
Yeah. It sucks.
Yeah.
The process kind of sucks is at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I'm
gonna mine more iron.
Yeah.
But as far as gifting subs, I mean, sure. If that's a way that chat chooses to support the streamer, support other people, and have fun, like I got Twitch sub to me, EA sub to me, Mia Khalifa sub to me.
Yeah. That's
like that kind of shit. I don't mind that. I think that's funny.
I wish,
but I think you need to be careful. Like there should be like a deny button. So like if there are two streamers that like we're a couple or something, and now they're broken up, and you sub one to the other, that's there
needs to be an opt-out button. There just needs to be an opt-out button.
The very first day that sub gifting happened, there were people on Twitter saying that people had dropped in their chats and subbed them to their ex. The very first day.
Yeah. I figure that's kind of a no-brainer when it comes to like, how could people abuse this? But I guess it wasn't.
You know what though? I got to admit, I thought I originally thought, now sub gifting is awesome. And I'm sure I speak for many casters when I say our communities are fantastic. The amount of gifted subs we see are incredible. I see at least 10 to 50 plus gifted subs a day. Like it's awesome. I love sub gifting. That being said, weirdly enough, I have not seen the same metric change as I did with Twitch Prime. In fact, it's like a less than 10%.
It's very small, yeah.
So sub gifting is cool. Don't get me wrong. It's great, but it's the kind of thing where it's not going to make a huge impact. It's just kind of a for fun thing.
I think
And also, one thing I want to get across is if you're thinking of sub gifting someone that's like a joke, like EA or Twitch or whoever, like famous person, consider instead tipping the streamer, because that more directly supports them. Sure, it's funny if it's for the fun of it and for the joke of it. Sure, I understand. But if you really want to support somebody, like, just tip them.
Yeah.
Yep. Well said.
Still don't know. I guess I'll just say like Elon Musk. We'll go with that. That's who I'd rather have. I'd have lunch with.
You'd have lunch with?
Yeah.
Good choice.
That's a good one, man.
Yeah.
Great dude these days, for sure.
Yep.
Like that one.
Got like one or two more questions. There's been a lot added that I haven't even had time to read through. Do we want to talk? Do we want to tackle this? I'm going to post this into Skype. Do you guys want to tackle that, or should we not do that today and maybe do a half of a show on it?
I'm okay with it.
That's a longer topic.
Okay.
For sure.
We will. But
not to keep it cryptic, we're talking about net neutrality, and I think that's a topic that we should have a second to research and have come with informed opinions about.
Yeah.
See, and stuff like that. I don't think 10 minutes is quite near enough to talk about that shit. And there's a lot of questions, and I think it deserves being talked about, but yeah.
Yeah. I think we can all agree, though, it sucks. What did you say, Ko? I talked over you.
I was going to say, with the cryptic question, you made that too easy about immediately going to net neutrality. I would have said, well, the question is, how much ass does Nicki Minaj have? But, that's a question for another show. But,
That's like two shows, man. Jeez. Yeah, we want to talk about that stuff, but with 10 minutes left, that's not the show.
Yeah.
And can't do it in two shows, so probably be next week. Because in two shows, the vote's happening and we're fucked. So,
we could do real quick. Like, how did we meet?
I think it was via email, right?
I met Ko through the Intel's Next Top live streamer.
Yeah, you guys met that way, yeah.
What was the name of our combined community again? Zirconia. That's right, Zirconia.
Yeah.
We combined forces to invade the Intel competition. It was kind of funny because there was this competition called the Intel Next Top Streamer. Yeah. And there came this point where there was only a few streamers remaining. And I remember the day that I think it was me or Zeke, we asked them, can we work together? We had to ask them. We needed to make sure, like, can we join forces? And they were
they wanted to be like a reality show, and it's like, let's do a team up.
Yep. So at that point, me and Zeke just kind of had a few words, and there was also a challenge where it was you had to play as many games as possible in an hour time frame. And there was a bunch of multiplayer games. So me and Zeke were like, well, we could play a bunch of these multiplayer games together. You want to do that? Sure. So we started streaming together, and all of a sudden, both of our communities came up with like names for each other, and we started going back and forth. And more importantly, we were starting to raid each other so we could keep our viewers up for this contest. And it was really cool, man. It was really cool. It was really funny because when I first met Zeke, I heard that he was basically just a guy that wanted to be man versus game, but was never going to get there. So I was like, well, I'm not going to get with man versus game. So I might as well go with this second rate guy. And it ended up working out, which was great because I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting to just use him as a stone to get to man versus game. But it turned out that Zeke was actually pretty cool. So it worked out.
Well, looking back at that picture, that's how I met Jeff and Margaret Crone and DJ Wheat and AC and Anna. Well, I didn't ever meet. She did like the promos. Anna Prosser Robinson did like the promos for it. Yeah. But that's the first time I met any of those guys. First time I met DM and Tim the Tatman.
Wait, was Tim in this?
He was like the first week out.
Really?
Because he went on vacation.
No. Oh my God! Right. So Tim. Oh, poor Tim. Okay, first of all, for anyone that doesn't know who Tim the Tatman is, he's an incredibly genuine, cool bro streamer. He's an absolute boss. He's a great dude. And what happened was he was in this competition when he was like he wasn't a beginning streamer, but he was just getting traction. And what happened was he had agreed to visit his girlfriend at the time's parents. And he had agreed to do this like months in advance. So what happened was Intel did this big competition over 2 days that he was already scheduled to go meet his girlfriend's parents or something like that. You have to forgive me. I don't remember exactly what happened. This was a long time ago. But basically what Tim did was he decided like family over competition. And Intel was like, lol you out. Like that's basically what they said. It was basically like Tim was like, I'm really sorry guys, but I can't participate. He was totally professional about it on Twitter. I remember reading the tweet. He was like, I'm really sorry guys, but I have this pre-event that I have to do and I can't participate this weekend, but I'll be back as soon as I can to participate. And Intel was just like, sorry, you weren't here for the days you were supposed to. And the next show, they just straight cut him. Jeez. They were just like, he's out.
The only thing I remember,
and I felt so bad for him at the time. It was such a bad situation.
I mean, he blew up. It's fine. He's doing just fine.
Yeah, he's
doing all right.
And I stand that was those were the days when
on Twitch, he's okay.
Yeah, he's okay.
Yeah. And it's funny because during that period, like Co was as far as viewership and numbers go, was a little bit more popular than me, but not like vastly like it is now. It's just it's funny to see like the trajectory of both of our both of our Twitch careers, both up, but his was just like
well, I think my favorite, and this might be
now Zeke, it's very important to mention though, you haven't sold your soul to the devil. So while you still retain your soul, it was around that time that I actually made my deal with Satan. So again, you're doing great considering you still actually have full owner retainership. Me, however, oh man, I don't want to think what's going to happen in 40 years. It's basically going to be the Cuphead art style of just hell all over the place. It's going to be terrible. But I'm trying to enjoy it.
Practicing. You better start practicing your fiddle.
Already doing it. Thanks, bud.
I wish I could find the clip of my favorite thing from the entire Intel Next Top live streamer where AC called Zeke a monkey.
That was great. He said I was a dancing monkey.
Yeah.
And the very next stream, I dressed up in a suit, all professional like, and all of my alerts were monkey sounds.
Yeah.
The absolute
and he respected me over that. We became friends.
Response. Yeah. There is nothing else you could have done to be a better response to that comment. And not only did it turn around the purpose of the comment, but the next show he straight up said, I have respect for this person now. Like it was so far in the opposite direction. That was an impressive time. I'm not going to admit that was impressive. That was good.
Yeah. And then I think the way that I met the two of you was, I think I met you guys first through email. That DJ Wheat probably CC'd you guys on an email to me or something like that. I forget the specifics of it. Maybe I can even pull those up.
It was either through email or Skype that you contacted me. And what choice was I for your show idea? Like I was after, I know you wanted day 9.
I don't actually know.
I think I want to say I was like 4th or 5th choice, like behind.
I don't know if I told you what choice you were though.
Something like that.
You know?
And they all turn you down. And you're like, let's see what the Z guy has to say.
I'm trying to find that original email, but it was so far ago or so long ago. I'm not even sure. Oh wait, what if it's nope?
Dude, JP, I'm never going to forget when we were hanging out in a Skype channel trying to come up with names for a Twitch talk show.
Yeah.
Like when we were just like, so if we were going to do a talk show on Twitch about Twitch, like what would we call it? Like, and we were just spitballing names back and forth for like 30 minutes.
Drop Frames was like, I think the original choice, but it was too on the nose.
Drop Frames was the very first idea I had was the dropped frame.
Yeah.
And it was like, I was thinking like it would be an RPG tavern, like not Drop Frames with an S, but like the dropped frame. And then you took that idea and ran with it. And I ended up liking your idea better about dropped frames. And we just kind of rode with it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't even remember some of those other names, and the Skype conversation's long gone, so I don't know if we could pull it up. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember any of the original ones. So, I guess those are
Zeke
just
was
lost
an
to
early
time.
choice, though.
Yeah,
I remember that.
And
Like,
plus,
Zeke was in one of the first lists of names.
yeah.
Um,
Plus, I would never tell
Just
Zeke, by the way, you're fourth choice, but you want. I'd never present it
of
that
course,
way.
no, of course not. It's fun to joke about it now, and even back then, I would have understood that
I don't-
there
yeah.
probably was a couple people ahead in line.
I never asked Sean because I knew he was too busy. I don't think I ever asked Jeff because we did State of the Game together. I'm trying to think. Like, I think I might have asked Dan, and then you were second choice. I think is how it worked.
Okay. No, I think honestly, this chemistry that we have, the differing personalities has just has just gelled so well that
we are three different points on a triangle, dude.
Oh yeah. Without a doubt.
We cover a lot of bases between us three. For
Oh,
sure.
and I might have maybe Elohim was something. I think Co might have been pushing Elohim at the time.
Ella was one of the first, like, multiple. I think Ella was one of the first guests we had on multiple times.
Yeah.
And honestly, Elo probably would have been a lot more, but his life went into light speed, and his life is still light speed these days.
That's true. That's true.
Which is one of the reasons that kind of didn't work out too much, but he's got a lot going on.
Well, cool. Let's call that a show and do some shout
I was just thinking about the 3 points on the triangle, and for some reason I was thinking of if we were a part of the Captain Planet team, who would we be? And I think JP would be Earth, I would be Fire, and Co would be Heart. Because you're rock solid, JP. You're rock solid.
I like that.
That's not bad. But who are the other two people?
That's pretty good.
Captain Planet was 5 people.
Well,
Wind
I
and
guess
water?
we're gonna need to find 2 more people.
We need
to find a wind and a wait.
Water.
Okay, Earth or water. We need to find a wind and a water, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll have to keep our eyes out.
Yeah.
We'll have to keep our eyes out.
Okay. We'll work it together. We'll figure it out.
I would love to form Captain Planet eventually.
Yeah,
so we'll have to keep our eyes out.
We'll figure it out.
We could do like a Captain Planet or a Voltron thing. Like either is fine. I'd love to shoot off into space and form a giant robot of some kind.
Oh,
like
you
whatever
and
you
me
guys
both.
want to do, I'm down.
Yeah.
We're good.
You and me both. Let's do some shout outs. Call it a show. Zeke, you want to start us off? I think I set these up. Hey, I set them up. Do some shout outs.
Sure. What's up, everybody? Thanks, Co and JP. Love these shows, the Q&A shows, and it's always fun to just cut loose without a guest. And we can just talk shit and banter all day. Follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. All the same, Ezekiel_III. I will be broadcasting after this probably in an hour, maybe. But I will be broadcasting later today. I'm playing the Schadenfreude, getting over it. If you guys want to come watch me just try and stay zen in a moment of just sheer hatred, come on down. But yeah, that's it. That's what I'm doing today. So hope to see you there. Thanks, y'all.
Awesome stuff. Co, do some shout outs.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, a big thank you to JP and Zeke. I have to admit, don't get me wrong, I love the guests we have on this channel, but some of my favorite shows are when it's just us. And I really appreciate you guys for being here. It still blows my mind we can get 11,000 people out here without even having a guest. You guys are awesome. And thank you, chat, for hanging out. My name is Co. I stream every day at 8 a.m. A lot of RimWorld on the channel in the near future. Also going to see some Avorian. We've got PoE on the 8th coming out. We have the Surge DLC coming up soon. A lot of fun stuff. And I very much hope to see you there for it. So as always, thank you for watching, and can't wait to see you next week.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, we'll be back next week, 1 o'clock Eastern. Like Zeke, or I think both of them mentioned, we do have a Twitter now, twitter.com/dropframes. We'll be posting the VODs, links to the VOD and everything, as well as just on my normal Twitter over the next couple days. Working on getting MP3s up of all the old past episodes and future episodes over on iTunes and Spotify and all that stuff, but no date just yet for that. And then I guess it was decided this show that our Game of the Year episode will be on December 20th at 1 o'clock Eastern, probably a 4-hour show. And I'll work with my mods. We'll try to get or we will be getting a community vote set up, but we got to figure out how we're going to handle that. So until then, we'll see you next week at 1 o'clock Eastern, and we'll have a guest and probably be talking about something. I don't know, Path of Exile or whatever other game people are playing by then. So we'll figure it out.
Maybe net neutrality.
Yeah, and that might actually be the show next week. We'll try to figure someone out that would be good for that. So anyways, we'll talk to you next time. Have a good one. We're out. Bye-bye.